Good morning, church. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Grady Small. I am the admin for student ministry, so I work with Pastor Russ, and I'm also the missions coordinator. So if I've never met you in person, hope I get to do that really soon, and if I already know you, hello, good morning. I'm so excited to be sharing a devotional with you all, and it's taken out of John 15, which was one of my favorite passages in the Gospels, and it's just talking about abiding in Christ. If you know me, you know that abide is one of my most cherished words. I just love it so much, and it just means to dwell or remain or continue in or to stay, and it's talking about abiding in Christ, so we're to remain and dwell in God's presence. So I'm going to read for you John 15, 1 through 4. I encourage you to read the whole passage because it just holds so much truth and wisdom. But for now, I'm just going to read John 15, 1 through 4. It says, "I'm the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. Already you are clean because of the word that I've spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you. As a branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me." I think about the fruit of the Spirit that we read about in Galatians: love, joy, peace, patience, and all the other ones. And I think about how if we're not connected to the vine, if we're not abiding in Christ, we can't bear those things because we're not remaining in God's presence. And so I was talking to my small group, and we were talking about anxiety and how a lot of the things going on in our world, I mean, if you haven't noticed, there's a lot going on, and some of those things can cause confusion and worry and anxiety, maybe even fear, and how we really need some peace. And I was talking to them about when I pray for peace and joy, I always seem to be depleted by the end of the day. Like I've used it all, the joy and peace that God gave me for the day. And that's not what it's supposed to be like. When we continue in God's presence, we continue to have joy and peace. And so I was like, the goal isn't peace. The goal is to be in God's presence. It's to remain in God, to abide in Him, to dwell in His presence. And the verse even says that we can't bear fruit unless we're connected to the vine. And I don't know about you, but I want to produce good fruit. I want to have love, the love for the Father and the love for people. And I want to have joy and peace and joy that don't run out. And that's what can be found in God's presence. I mean, I just think that's amazing. I am just in awe of how faithful God is. And so I think about sometimes when I'm going through the day and I don't think I have enough time to spend in His Word or to pray. And then I'm reminded that He promises to never leave our side. And so no matter what time I can give, it is so good to be in His presence. And what I discover is that the more time I spend in His presence, the more I want to be there. So I make the time. I remember when COVID started and the safe order for staying home started, and I remember having 2 moments of profound peace, and both those times I was in prayer. I was praying for myself, I was praying for the students in the student ministry, our church staff, our church family, you guys, the nations, just for peace and joy and hope, and just understanding of knowing what to say and do. And both those times I was in prayer, I just had so much peace, and it lasted. I remembered that moment, and it's all because I was in God's presence. And when He talks about abiding, it means to trust in what He's doing. It means to trust in what He is giving us, because He knows what we need, and He's going to give that to us when we remain in Him, which is just so good. And it means to accept what He's giving us. It's kind of hard right now to think about what might be good. It's kind of hard to think about, God, where are you? But we need to trust and receive and believe that what He's giving us and what He's going to be doing is good. And it also means that our life reflects our being in His presence. So people should see our joy and our peace and our love, because we can bear fruit that glorifies Him. And that is what it's about. It's about glorifying God, loving people, glorifying God. I don't know about you, but I know some people who, when I'm in their presence, I just feel better about life. And that is what it's like to be in God's presence. It's just so good, guys. And so I want to just encourage you with that today. I want to encourage you to make time to be in God's presence, because when you're there, man, it is so good. As someone who can be pretty anxious, I know that in God's presence, I can have peace that never is depleted, because He has abundant peace, peace that surpasses my understanding. I don't even know sometimes how I have peace, but it's all about remaining in His presence. So I hope that encourages you all today, and I'm so excited to be able to share that with you, and I encourage you to read all of John 15, and I hope that you have an awesome day.